Okay, so thank you for joining. We will start with this webinar. Thank you, Grace, for sharing the screen. So in this webinar, we will have a conversation regarding expense management. My name is Yael. I am a technology services partner at Video Mexico. And we invited Mateo Bustamante, who is account manager at Odoo Mexico. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are our pictures. Next slide, please. Okay, so the agenda for today is we will present Video Mexico, what we do and how we do it, the common challenges in expense management for Mexican companies and also international companies, what is the expense management application in Odoo, and we will review two case studies, foreign spending in Mexico and domestic spending. And also we will have a brief conversation regarding the relevance for Mexican companies. Okay, so Video in Mexico was founded in 1943. Next slide, please. We have presence in more than 160 countries. We have more than 1,800 offices. We have 9 offices here in Mexico. We have offices in Torre Mayor. We have offices in Parques Plaza, Polanco, in Mexico City, Ciudad Juárez, Guadalajara, Hermosillo, Monterrey, Mazatlán, Tijuana, and Querétaro. Nowadays, we have more than 1,000 people in all of our offices here in Mexico. And next slide, please. And talking about video, we have several services. Historically, we have been known for our audit and assurance services. We have financial statements audit, government sector audit, reviews for special purposes, tax compliance examination. Next slide, please. We have also financial services, advisory in the initial development of a business. We have registrations and incorporations. We help companies open here in Mexico, and that's one of the values that we can offer for international companies. We can help you open the company in Mexico. We can help you with the accounting, the whole operation, payroll, and treasury services. We also have tax services. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. La siguiente, Grace. En la siguiente slide, please. De la presentación, Grace. Super. We have tax services, international trade and customs, local taxes, legal consulting, IMSS and Infonavit, transfer pricing, social security, and expatriate tax services. Next slide, please. And I personally, before technology services, we also have legal services, tax, social security, labor, and corporate. Next slide. And regarding technology services, we have ERP, we have Business Central, Finance and Operations, NetSuite, Odoo, SAP, Sage 100, Sage 300, basically all the big ERPs in the market. We also provide digital strategy services. We provide services in productivity and collaboration software, such as Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. And we also can help you with business process automation in Power Automate, or we also use UiPath for these specific services. We can help with cloud infrastructure, Microsoft Azure, data and analytics, Power BI, Tableau. We can help companies with IT team expansion, locally or international. We also help companies with software selection, data and AI, cybersecurity services, and implant services if needed. Next slide, please. And we also have advisory services in which we include IFRS and NIF, risk advisory, organizational development, deal advisory, public sector advisory, human capital management services, forensic investigations, innovation transformation, sustainability, and we offer special services for hotels and tourism and advisory. Next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about expense management. Let's start with the challenges, the common challenges. Whether you have an international company or you have a national company, there can be lack of real-time visibility. There could be manual processes that are prone to errors, insufficient regulatory compliance, delays in refunds and payments, and risk of unauthorized spending, right? So all these risks are related to a lack of data governance, lack of technology, and that's how we can help. Next slide, please. You will receive this presentation, so I will not stop in specific slides. And before we continue with expense management, I would like to introduce Mateo, who is our account manager at Odoo, and he will talk about this specific application. Thank you for joining, Mateo.
Thank you, Yael. My name is Mateo. I'm account manager at Odoo. I work with the best partners in Mexico, including BDO. The partners, experts in our software implementation, help us take Odoo to the next level. So Odoo is a software that has many functions, but with the expertise of our partners, we could place the software to the next level. Could you please go to the next? So it's simple to use. It's user-friendly. Odoo is the first ERP software that it's user-centered. What it means that it's designed to make the end user's life easier, intuitive by design. So maybe if we compare with other softwares, they're also with a lot of functions, but it's not that good to have many functions if my end user cannot use them. So the thing for Odoo is to make easier the day, the work for every end user. Next slide. So this is just a bit example of all the application we have. The idea of Odoo is to have a ERP that works in a modular and integrated way. This means that we have an application for every business need and are all seamlessly connected to avoid duplicate data and minimize the human error. So, for example, if I'm doing a quotation and then I need to go to another system to make the invoice, the idea of Odoo generally is to have all in the same system and avoid human error and give a better service. So this is just some data of our global positioning. We have 19 offices. There are more than 5,000 official partners, and there are more than 12 million active users. I'm saying hello from Mexico City office. Today in Mexico City, we handle Mexico, Chile, Colombia, Peru, and mostly they're coming to give us more localization. The thing is, before we had also services by our office in San Francisco, but given that Mexico has been a very growing market, actually we are now the first market in amount of users in the whole world. So that's why we decided 5 years ago to have a physical office here. Next slide. So, for example, in Mexico, we have 1,200,000 enterprise users in Mexico, and 20,000 was in the last 6 months. So, yeah, the thing it's growing very fast. I had the opportunity to be one of the first employees in Mexico. At first, we were like 10, 20 employees. Now we are reaching the 700. So, in 5 years, we've grown very, very fast, not only in enterprise users, in revenue, but also in employees to handle this growing market. So the expenses app is meant to submit expenses, and the idea is to make it very easy. So for many companies, it's an issue that they to a customer, to a client, and they have a lot of expenses, but they don't put it on the system or they lose the tickets. So the idea is to do it from your phone, not necessarily to enter to a computer, but just in your phone, you take a picture, you upload your ticket, and it goes to the accounting part of your company so they can handle I don't know, a reimburse or something. There's 4 ways to create records by email. So we can create an alias. So then you just send an email to this alias of email, and it creates an approval inside Odoo. You can also scan with your phone and your camera, and so you scan the ticket, and Odoo take the amounts there. You could also drag and drop a PDF or a document to Odoo, so Odoo could read it. And also you could manually type the expense. So there are 4 different ways in which we could handle this. We could also adapt for making through WhatsApp. That's not a standard, but we could make it. So all functions mean to be performed correctly, total transparency, like you would have the transparency of who make the expenses, where's the ticket that is about that expense. Also, plenty upload options, inter-app harmony. So what expenses does affects accounting. So accounting team knows what are the pay or which accounts needs to be paid to our employees to reimburse. Next slide, please. Also collaboration. So for example, if I upload a ticket or expense and my manager said it doesn't make sense, he could put a note inside Odoo, and I could answer, oh yeah, the thing is we went out and I had to pay to the client. I don't know. So we have this collaboration platform in which we could have a history of what happened with each expense. Also the simplicity, as I said before, it's very intuitive for the end users, and also the role. So I could inside Odoo say I'm the employee who's putting up the expense, but in my employee information I could put who would be the one who approves or not approves my expense to be reimbursed. Next week, we are handling the Odoo experience in Belgium. Odoo is a Belgium originary system, and we are going to have the new version, 19 version. Every year, we are improving our software, not just globally, but locally, also with the localization of each country. And this is some of the bullet points that are going to be improved: the website e-commerce, the post, and also it's going to be artificial intelligence integrated to the system. And the thing is would be integrated to what's happening inside the system. So even though in expenses, we could ask to the artificial intelligence, can you please prepare me a resume of what happened in all these expenses, and Odoo will take the information that it's already in the system and give us a resume, just to give an example. Next slide. So that's it. I will leave you with Yael, and just to say that anything you need about Odoo, you could ask with Yael and PDO, and we will ask Odoo or support that. No? Maybe personalized demonstrations or anything, any doubts, anything, we are here.
Thanks so much, Mateo. So just as Mateo said, the expense application in Odoo allows us to have a full record of who created the expense, who approved the expense, and the whole history of the document in general, right? So next slide, please. We have 2 cases. Well, these are some screenshots from the application. We will not see the mobile application today. So go back to the previous slide, please. Yeah, so we can see the mobile application. We will not see it today, but it is possible to upload an expense by simply taking a picture with your cell phone and scanning it, and that's it, right? So these are number 2, 3, and 4. Those we can actually see them. So next slide, please. And in general, this is the workflow. of how the expense management can work. So we will share this with you. Next slide. And we have two case studies. In Mexico, we have to comply with certain regulations and certain reports very relevant in accounting and fiscal matters. So we have the DIOT, for example. We have the journal entries report, which are reports that requested by the government. So it is very important for us to identify the right documents and to make sure that the right information is getting to the right report. Okay, so some foreign spending situations must be recorded in a certain way, and national spending must be recorded in a different way. So next slide, please. For the foreign spend, we don't have an XML file. We only might have a PDF file. We don't have VAT transfer. And for domestic spending, we also have, we actually have a PDF. We have an XML file, which is an electronic invoice issued by the supplier. And we must validate that the CFDI is valid and is active in the SAT system. And we must comply with the DIOT regulations and tax deductions. And we must record the expense and attach the receipt, of course. Next slide, please. Okay, and these are some specific points of relevance for Mexican companies. The authorization workflows that strengthen internal controls, automatic consolidation and categorization by expense type and cost center, which allows us to have a more direct visualization or data analysis. Direct integration with accounting software to generate automatic journal entries, bank reconciliation linked to payments, refunds, and suppliers, budget control and deviation alerts, which in turn helps strengthen the internal controls. It supports CFDI 4.0, validation and storage, compliance with the tax and regulatory requirements of the SAT, record keeping for creditable backs and tax deductions. That's very important, especially for companies in the mining sector, for example. Generating information for the information statements on transactions with third parties, DIOT in Spanish, real-time financial and operations reports for decision making. And next slide, please. Okay, so now I will share my screen and I will show you a database with the expense application in Odoo. In the meantime, feel free to write any question you might have. Oh my God, I always have issues with this Webex software. So I hope you can see my screen now. Grace, ¿se ve la base de datos?
Yes, we can see the database now.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is an Odoo database. We have several applications. As Mateo said, Odoo is an ERP that helps us manage different processes. So it interconnects our purchase process, sales process, accounting process. So that's why we can actually comply with the DIOT and comply with the journal entries report because the expense application is connected with the accounting application in turn. We can see both of them, the expense application right here and the accounting application right here. So I will open my expense application and we have some transactions already created. And these transactions have some details. It contains the category, the total, the taxes, if there are taxes included. The currency, this is very important because the currency is converted automatically. And if this expense was paid by the employee or paid by the company. In case the expense was paid by the employee, then we must reimburse the employee, and we must have control of the process of reimbursement. Also, we have the accounting account, which is connected to our chart of accounts. We can see the SAT code right here, the account name, the type of account, and other configuration of the account. So we can also reimburse a specific customer in case we want to do it. And here we have the list of the sales order. So in case this expense is related to a project or related to a specific sale order of a specific client, we can actually select it, and it will allow us to, it actually adds the analytic distribution right away, which is adding the analytic account related to the sales order. So now we can see that we have the sales order right here. We have a button right here. And we also have the status of the document. We have a history of the document. We can send an email. This is an email, for example. And if we have a reply of this email, the reply will be recorded right here with any attachment that the email might have. We can also schedule activities for ourselves or for another person, another user. And the activity can be just miscellaneous to do, an email, a call, a meeting, an expense approval, a document request, or a signature. So it has several options for the same workflow, as you can observe. And it also allows us to change the view. So here we have the list view, and then we have the Kanban view, which shows us the same information in a different way. We also have the graph in which we can filter by month. We can group, and we can change the measure. Here we can see, we are seeing the total, but we can filter and see only the tax amount, or we can see the total in currency, or the untaxed amount, etc., or the amount due, or the number of documents, for example. And then we also have the grouping by employee. So here, Keith has the purple color, Ronnie has the orange, and so on. So we can also change to pivot view, and we can actually arrange the information. So here we are seeing the total in currency, but we can add the total of documents. But also we can add, okay, so this is the total. Okay, total in currency, count, number of documents. Okay, then we can add tax amount, for example, etc., and so on. Now we are seeing the document by employee, and then we can group by month, for example. Or we can reverse the grouping. We can do it first by expense date, and then by employee, for example. So we are seeing month and then employee. So we can group only by month and then by day, for example. So there are many ways we can actually visualize the information. And this is a big advantage because we can actually, there is a document application which is not installed. And this is good because I can actually show you how easy it is to install an application in Odoo. So you can compare between other softwares, SAP, for example, or Business Central, Finance and Operations, which we actually work with those softwares. But this is a demonstration of the difference between the agility of those softwares and Odoo. So here we have, okay, now I return to my database. We can return to this view. And now that I have the documents application, you can see it right here, documents. The documents application will activate a very cool feature in Odoo that allows us to actually move this table to an Excel spreadsheet in the Odoo environment. So why this is important? Because this number right here is not a 200. This is not a 4,000. This is the value taken in real time from the expense application, from the result, from the updated version of all the documents that are in the same workflow. We can also insert a list in a spreadsheet in case we just want to see a list of documents. Okay, so we can see this list of documents, and you can create dynamic tables, formulas, calculations, KPIs, whatever you want. And your KPIs, your tables, and everything will be updated real time, because the source of information will be updated real time. And you can see it right here. It is taking the information from the database itself, and it is allowing to work like a classic spreadsheet. So that's a huge advantage in this software. And in turn, it allows us to create these KPIs. For example, let's go to the expense applications. These are some reports that we have for the expense application, but these reports are linked to this Excel inside Odoo. So we can go identify the expense report, and there we have this table. We have all these KPIs in this spreadsheet. You can add the KPIs, modify the KPIs, you can add colors, etc., and tags, whatever you want, and this will be updated real time. So returning to this expense application, so I will create a new expense just for you to see how is the workflow. Let's say that the expense was 1,000, and then yeah, employee to reimburse. Let's say that I want to reimburse to the employee, and this was a meal, and we can add a customer to reinvoice. So I will select this sales order, and I will submit the expense. And now the expense created expense approval automatically. And this approval will be delivered right here in this section. So we have three pending approvals right here, and the manager will have the list of pending approvals right here. So let's go back to my expense. And then we can approve or refuse. I will approve this expense, and then we can select what to do. We can report this expense in the next payslip, or we can split the expense, or we can just post the journal entries, right? So in this case, let's say that I just want to post the journal entries. And now I have to select the right journal for these journal entries. So I will select the expense journal. And then here we have the vendor bill. And now in the vendor bill, we have to upload the XML file and the PDF file, right? So let's upload a PDF file and XML file. Let's see if I have something here that I can upload. Okay, let's upload this file. Okay. And we can see that we have the fiscal folio right here. And this specific vendor bill will be considered for the DIOT report. So here we have the journal items, and we can see the tax must be right here. We have the taxes, discount amount. We don't have a discount. Start date. Okay. So yeah, here we have the analytic distribution. In this case, we selected this analytic distribution that was related to a sales order. And in turn, in case we have to reconcile with the purchase department, here we have the purchase matching. So we can just click on purchase matching and do our purchase matching with our current sales order, purchase order, sorry. Okay, so let's go back to this expense, and let's go back to the expense application. And now I will create another expense for the same amount. But in this case, I will select to report in the next payslip. So let's see. Um, let's approve. So Odoo validates and it tells me, hey, there are other expenses similar to this. So there are some filters too for us to consider. And now we have selected to include this expense in the next payslip. So now Odoo has the payroll application. This is the payroll application. And I will continue with this workflow. And in the payroll application, we can select the payslips, create a new payslip. In this case, it will be for, I think this, yeah, okay. Save. And now we have the other inputs category, and we have the expenses. So these expenses are related to the expenses that we selected to report in the payslip. So now we can see how the expense application is interlinked with the payroll application. So here in the salary slip, we can see the related expenses, and we have two related expenses. So we have 1,056.80, two expenses, and these two expenses were grouped automatically. I didn't have to do it manually or whatever. So now let's go back to the expense application. Here we are in the payroll application. And from an expense management perspective, I can see the expenses that are already approved here. And when the payslip is created from the HR department, this button will be created right here. So I can see the payslip that is related to this expense from the expense. So we have full traceability, whether we are opening the expense application or we are opening the payroll application. There's full traceability on what's happening, when it's happening. We have the full record of who created the payslip, the time of creation of the payslip in the payroll application, the time of creation and approval of the expense, etc. And then we have miscellaneous reports, which we can also customize in case we can see it in linear way. We can select it or pie, etc. So we can also select to group the information by, let's say, employee and then category. And then we have it here like a Gauss graph. We can group by status and then category, or we can group by, let's say, status and then employee. So we have the status and then the employees are the color, then vice versa, employee and then status, and then we have the employees and the status are the colors. So you can actually play with this information. This can be actually sent to a Power BI or a Tableau tool for data visualization, for forecasting, or whatever is needed. And well, that's it basically for the expense application. It allows us to control the whole workflow, but also something very important. I created some expenses from this expense application, but we also have the vendor bills created right here. For example, I think, no, this is not. Let's go back to the dashboard, identify the expense. Yeah, right here. Yeah. So we have here. Yeah. So this document was created from the expense application, but this is a vendor bill that will be visible in the accounting application for the accounts payable personnel for them to pay. So we have the recipient bank. We can actually continue the workflow by paying this paying this bill, registering the payment, and then we can continue with the bank reconciliation and the whole accounting process. And we can actually see the purchases, the expenses, the cash basis entries, and the payments related to the same workflow. Everything with the same traceability. And something very important, I was when I started, I discussed something about these reports, POLISAS reports or journal entries reports. Here in Mexico, this is a very important report. We can select tax audit, audit certification, return of goods, or compensation. And then you can actually just enter your process number with the SAT and export the file. Then the XML file can be uploaded into the SAT system. In this case, Odoo has an alert and it tells us that this is an incomplete period. So in case we export this XML file, it will be incomplete. Okay. So of course we have to finish this accounting closure, and then we can finish with this report. We can also export the chart of accounts for the SAT system. And in case there's an error, Odoo will warn about this error before exporting the information. So after this error is resolved in the chart of accounts, Odoo will allow to export the XML file to import it to the SAT system. What else? We also have the DIOT report, which is super important and very important for mining companies, for example. And here you can see that these reports were generated from the expenses that I created before. We have the EXP 2025. We can see the journal entries, the full traceability, the reconciled items, and here we can see the vendor bill. So this is the vendor bill related, and then the DIOT report is being created from this operation that I approved, that followed the internal regulations of the company, and that followed the taxes, registrations, etc. So you can actually just export this report in TXT file, the DIOT, the DPIVA in TXT, and you can export it in PDF or XLSX file for Excel. Also, this DIOT report is already updated with the new version, and well, basically that's it. We also have the other accounting reports, but those are miscellaneous and related more to the accounting workflow. So that's pretty much it for this. Grace, can you return to the presentation, please? In case we have some questions. Okay, thank you. So there are some questions that were sent to me before, and number one is the payroll updated real time? So yeah, the payroll is updated real time. If you select the expenses to be reported in the next payslip, all of those at the time of the payslip creation will be reported. So in case there is a missing expense, for example, the payslip must be reset to draft, and then you can just repeat the process, and that's it. So it is still automatic, but if there's an error or something, you have to repeat the process, and that's it. We also have another question, and this question is more related to the project management side. So the question is, the expenses can be related to the projects and forecasting and budgeting. Yes, these expenses can be actually added to analytic accounts, and the analytic accounts in turn can be related to budgets or to forecasting. So yes, if you select these analytic accounts and you have actually a budget related to these analytic accounts, it will be reflected in the project reporting. That's super, super important. And we have another question, and this question is related to the approval process. So in this case, the approval application allows to have a digital signature process. So there's a digital signature application in the Odoo ecosystem. It can be used in the same database. Actually, for internal applications and internal documents such as expenses and this kind of documents, we do not recommend using the sign application, because the sign application is more for legal purposes, like for contracts or for NDAs or stuff like that. But it's not used for this kind of documents. And this is more related to, I think, the culture of approvals. So historically, companies have used approvals through physical documents with the whole information and the signature, right? But in this case, when these documents are converted into an ERP document, it is not necessary anymore to have a signature like that. So the approval can actually be in the document itself, just like we saw, like a notification, and then the notification is recorded. It is subject of audit, so it is regulated and it is valid. So this is the best practice in ERP approvals. And yeah, for the sign application, the best practice would be for contracts, for NDAs, and those kind of documents. Yeah, so let's see if we have more questions. I don't see more questions right here. I just got sent those questions. So thanks so much for joining this webinar. We will send you some emails with more information and with more webinars that we will be doing in the future for some other topics. And we invite you also to those webinars. We work with different softwares, but Odoo is a very important software right now for us, because we have a very, very strong partnership regarding the compliance, the localization, the SAT reports and stuff like that. So if you want to know more regarding these reports, just contact us, and we can help you with questions, licensing, regarding licensing, the process, or whatever. And that's everything from my side. I don't know, Mateo, if you have comments or something to say.
No, just to thank everyone for their presence, and especially to you, Yael, and BDO for the invitation. And then, yes, you have a double support for seeing that way with Odoo and BDO. You're like one team.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Mateo. Have a good day. Bye bye.